This is The Wheel Weaves, a Wheel of Time podcast with no spoilers. Welcome, listeners. I'm your host, Dani, and I'm the first-time reader who's going through this 15-book mega-series chapter by chapter. As always, there are no spoilers past the chapter we are covering, and that means it's totally safe for first-time readers. I'm joined by my co-host, Brett, who's a longtime fan of the series, and he's acting as my tour guide on this journey. We'd also like to acknowledge our executive producers, Brandy and Aaron Kirkwood. In this episode, we're talking about chapters 37 and 38 of The Dragon Reborn.
Yeah, so chapter 37, we have Fires in Cairhien, and 38, Maidens of the Spear.
Yeah.
And we're doing this.
Yeah.
We had like 15 minutes of like sitting in front of the microphone before we actually started doing this, but we're here.
Yeah.
We're going to make it happen.
We're doing it.
Yes.
I'm a little out of breath.
A little bit tired, a little bit sick.
Just from talking. We're doing it. We're good.
Yeah.
We're good. So,
yeah. And there's some good stuff. We get lots of like information. I don't have a ton of notes for these chapters.
Yeah.
It's a lot of detail and like really good information.
Yeah.
But it's the introduction to some major characters.
Yeah. Well, and I figured that part. I was wondering why you said these were great chapters. Because not really.
They're important.
Okay, I can see how maybe they are important, but no.
Okay,
not for me at this point.
Okay. No, I get that, because it's basic. But what I do like is we learn a lot about the Aiel and their culture, and that's like really fun for me.
Which had me as confused as Egwene.
Oh, good segue. Good segue into the fun fact, because my fun fact today is trying to be more helpful than anything, more informative about the Aiel culture, because like in these chapters we got an intro into like more Aiel than we've ever seen in the series so far.
Okay.
Yeah, like we saw Urien and Gaul before.
Yeah.
And now we get like a bunch of other Maidens of the Spear.
Right, we also saw some other Maidens of the Spear in the steading.
Yeah, like a little bit. We didn't get like a ton of names or like any interactions.
We didn't get anything really, but we did get just a sort of glimpse of their culture.
Yeah, real small glimpse, and now we have like a lot more. So specifically, this fun fact is about the whole clans, septs, and everything like that, because we get more names and titles of people, and I know that when reading this series, it can be like really confusing.
Yeah, I basically just didn't read them.
And that's the thing. So I'm going to try and break this down a little bit, and also take some information from the glossary, because that's important, but we can also take a little bit from Scottish history, because in Scottish history, they use clans and septs.
Right. And did you also take anything maybe from your new book that arrived today?
No, I didn't.
Or the other day?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
So I finally got...
You're so excited for the Wheel of Time companion.
Yeah, the companion. I finally got it.
Yeah.
So really exciting. And it's just like so much like raw data.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it.
You're such a nerd. It's awesome.
So just going to read through it A to Z. It's all good. It's like a big giant encyclopedia. So... But yeah, so I had to do this, and it comes with an example, because one of our characters we got introduced to was Avienda of the Nine Valleys Sept of the Tardad Aiel, and she is a Maiden of the Spear. Mm-hmm. So we've got first names, we've got septs, we've got clans, and we've got societies.
Sure.
Okay?
Okay.
So just really simply for the Scottish clan system, and again, we don't know exactly how the Aiel do things, but with the Scottish clan system, it can be broken down pretty simply. Clan literally means children or kindred. So it gives people a sense of shared identity to its members. So clans is like a large group of people. They usually have their own clan chief, and clans are generally identified by their geographical area, and it's controlled by its founders. So typically like a location, a castle, or some sort of land holding would belong to one clan.
Okay, and this is in
Scottish history. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, but with Aiel...
that's like real life, that's not Aiel's?
Yeah, that's like real life. But also with Aiel, we can probably assume that there's like a lot of similarities.
I have to say that it kind of reminds me too of the Ogier.
Yeah.
The way they say son of.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like a connection to the family.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good way to think of it too. So the common misconception is that everyone who has a clan name is of like a lineal descendant of the chief. So even though clan means children, it doesn't mean literal children. Many people take the clan surname to show like solidarity or to get protection from the chief.
Sure.
So clan is like the big one. The sept is within the clan, and septs are usually large groups of like loosely related families, and they follow the clan chief. So there can be many septs within a clan. And then last from the...
There's not going to be like a quiz on this.
No,
like,
there's
I don't
not.
actually have to remember this.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
you don't have to memorize this. But lastly, from the glossary, we also have been introduced to lots of different Aiel warrior societies. So the easiest way to think about a society is kind of like a union or like a club or an association that you belong to. So you could join it regardless of like who your family is or where you're from. So during warfare, like in the Aiel culture, clans, even if they're fighting with each other, if you're members of a society, you typically won't fight with that same person of your society because you're all part of the same club. So clans are big.
So like Maidens of the Spear?
Yeah, Maidens of the
that
Spear
okay.
between clans wouldn't fight each other even if the clans are fighting. So clan is like the big giant group. There's multiple septs within the clan, and then societies are interdependent of that.
Sure, okay.
Cool, so there we go.
Okay. So, getting into this episode, though.
Yeah.
Last time, we had Perrin doing some crazy stuff, letting an Aiel free, meeting a girl who's going to call herself Falcon. So, like, there's that.
There is.
Plus, he had a dream about Baalzamon, basically confirming that, like, he's definitely the one who was behind the assassins trying to kill Matt and Tarvalin, because we had speculated on that earlier.
Yeah.
And this, like, definitely solidified that.
Okay.
That dream did. And Lanfear was there too, being all like contemptuous of like Baalzamon.
Yeah, like kind of poking fun that he hasn't done anything useful. So
right.
Yeah.
And then also Rand did some things that made me question him as a character.
Yeah.
That was
that whole scene.
Not great.
Okay.
And then Egwene, Nynaeve, and Elaine were going to be leaving Tarvalin on a black Aja hunting trip.
Yes, extravaganza you can call it.
Ooh. Fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have fires in Cairhien for chapter 37.
Yeah.
And we have the sun picture.
The rising sun of Cairhien.
Yeah.
Even though they're not real, well, they are sort of like in Cairhien on the border, just a little bit. So
yeah. So we are in Egwene's point of view. They are now on a ship headed out of Tarvalin. We aren't really sure when they left compared to Matt.
Yeah, that was one of my notes. So they also in this chapter like think about that, and we can kind of speculate when we get there.
Mm-hmm. And we also don't really know how long they've been on this ship.
Yeah, so the whole thing is like they mentioned that they leave in the afternoon. That's kind of the reference point.
And we know that Matt left like for like right before the sunrise, basically.
Yeah, like but it could be thought of like on either end of that spectrum. Like they left in the afternoon and then Matt was supposed to leave but then gambled all night and then left the next morning, or he left the morning of the afternoon that they left.
Okay, I felt like he left before them.
Okay, yeah. So it's up to interpretation at this point. We don't really 100% know.
But maybe not. I don't know, actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
But
no, we don't actually know yet.
Okay, so this is another instance where I had to go to the map because I was incredibly confused.
Yeah, this was funny.
And this happened to me last book when they got to Cairhien.
Yeah, and they're like, we're in Cairhien now. And you're like, why are they in the city?
And I was like, what the heck? That's really far from... what river goes there? And I was...
Yeah,
really?
it's like, no, not Cairhien the city, Cairhien the country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the captain of the ship called Blue Crane...
Yep.
Is named Elisor?
Captain Chin Elisor.
Cool. So, he totally believes that these three are, like, full Aes Sedai.
Oh, yeah. And they did nothing to, like...
Well, and I don't really know why, because it says that he was born and raised in Tarvalin. You think he would know. Like, even the Aiel later are like, you don't have the look.
So, but this is the things, though. They are wearing the rings on the right hand.
Oh.
And traditionally, with Accepted, they wear it on the left hand. And Aes Sedai can choose which hand they wear it on.
Okay.
And he also was born and raised in Tarvalin, and being born and raised, you know better than to question Aes Sedai.
Alright.
So...
Okay.
Like, keep your nose out of it.
I guess so. Okay, so Egwene is noting as they are passing, like, the shorelines here, that she's seeing lots of abandoned villages. As they pass, some of them are, like, smoking, as if recently on fire, and plumes of smoke are just, like, rising from, like, miles off the shore as well, signifying that there's lots of shit going on in Cairhien.
Yeah, Cairhien's in civil war right now.
And
it's not good.
It's literally called Fires in Cairhien, and there's obviously just a bunch of fires being set to villages.
Yeah.
So.
It's bad.
Not good. So, we get some information about her going back into the world of dreams, but not really finding any useful information, like specifically from using the terangrial and entering the world of dreams. But she has been able to come out safely.
And it's kind of funny that she's like hasn't gotten anything useful, but then we also get a whole list
of like
dreams and interpretations.
You know, I did write here, I said not really finding any useful information, ... to her anyway.
Yeah, like she
really
can interpret it, but yeah, for us as the reader, it's like, wow, this is super important. So
right. So we also get that she like reluctantly let Nynaeve and Elaine have a turn.
Yes, but she did do it.
Precious. Yeah. I mean, terangrial.
Exactly. No, but that's huge because that was the whole thing. Like, is she gonna let them? And apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
We don't really know what reluctant means,
probably because she didn't really, like, she hasn't been getting anything, and they probably bullied her into it.
Yeah, but it also probably means that there isn't some sort of, like, nefarious, evil, don't touch it, it's mine. Like, get away.
Yeah, but she also really didn't want to let them use it.
Yeah, no, I agree. So okay.
We'll see how, like, the longer she holds on to it. Like,
see if that ever happens again?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we get a breakdown of some of her dreams that she's been having, but I thought this list of dreams was without the terangrial.
Oh.
Because it says specifically...
Oh, yeah. No, that is. Yeah, so these are dreams without. So her not going into, like, the world of dreams.
Yes.
These are, like, the old dreams that she used to have.
Yeah. So
in, like,
regular. I think that these are, like, her dreamer dreams.
That seems like these are the dreamer dreams that might have, like, some sort of prophetic nature.
Okay.
So I have a list of them if you want me to go through.
Yeah, I also have a list.
Okay. You can do your list if you want.
Sure. So they are seemingly, like, getting stronger, I think. Like, they're getting more...
specific or
yeah, they're getting more specific.
Okay.
Which is making it more difficult for her to understand. Like before, she got really vague senses. Like she got a vague sense that Rand was being chased.
Okay.
She got a vague sense that Rand was in danger.
Yeah.
But here she has like very specific Rand holding a blazing sword and being threatened.
Okay.
Like very specific.
Yeah.
And that's more difficult for her to interpret and figure out because of how specific they're getting.
But is it easier for you?
No.
Holding a sword that blazes like the sun?
Well, I mean, like, we just saw him do some not so great stuff with a fire sword.
We did, and there's also a sword in the cover that seems to be blazing like the sun. Huh?
Yeah, but also being threatened in a bunch of different ways, and we just saw him being threatened by, like, Murdral in his dreams.
Yep.
We saw him being threatened by this, like,
giant chess game
lady. Oh, yeah.
Except it's not chess, it's stones.
It's stones.
But it's like the giant chess being smashed.
And the pieces are trying to crush him.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's in danger, but she wants to help him, and she knows she can't.
Yeah.
And she has her own duty.
Yeah. It's interesting to note that she clearly is aware that he's in danger from two people. Not just one person doing all this stuff. It's like two specific people. So who would those two people be?
I think that those are the people playing the chess, and that's probably Beelzebub and Lanfear.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Right, stones. Whatever. So she's also dreaming about Perrin.
Yeah, we got some, more of the same, I was going to say.
And then a dream with a falcon and a hawk, but the falcon and the hawk are fighting each other. That's new, I think.
That's new. That they're fighting is new.
Yeah.
But we've gotten them both before in context that they're women.
Yes.
Or females, I should say.
Uh-huh.
But they're probably women.
Yeah. And we get a dream of an Aiel that somehow has to do with Perrin.
Which we know.
So, yeah, that's why I feel like her dreams are not prophetic, like seeing the future. But I've said in the past, like, you keep on saying this thing about, like, her being able to see and it being prophetic. But I think she's able to see what has happened to these guys. And
that's just
what
reverse prophecy
happening.
Yeah. History? Is that what that is? She can see the past?
She can see what's happening now.
Now we're like
she's like having like visions.
And it's also nighttime for her here, so it like could line up with the whole Perrin.
I didn't get that this was nighttime. Oh, in her dreams.
Well, when she's having her dreams, it would be nighttime.
I was like, I'm pretty sure they're traveling during the day.
Yeah, and Perrin like attacked those guys.
Oh, yeah.
during the nighttime.
Okay,
so.
But yeah, we get that somehow an Aiel has to do with Perrin.
Yeah.
But then we have this whole thing about him walking off a cliff. And that doesn't seem like that's happening right now.
No, it doesn't.
Unless it's in the dream world.
Did you write down what he says?
I didn't.
It must be done. I must learn to fly before I reach the bottom.
Uh-huh. And if you don't?
Well, I don't know, but we just saw the whole, like, you know, Hopper in his dream flying, soaring like the eagles. I was wondering if you saw any sort of, like, connection between Hopper, like, soaring like the eagle and him saying...
No, if anything, I thought about, like, the Falcon and the Hawk.
Okay, that works too.
Are also flying, because I don't see Hopper as flying. Like, I know in his, like, dream he is, but...
Well, that's the only place he exists right now, so because he's dead.
I didn't know if he was actually flying or can just jump really high.
Okay.
Kind of like Buzz Lightyear, falling with style.
Okay,
yeah.
Sure, yeah.
No?
I don't know if the rules really matter in a dream world, so...
Okay, well, Egwene also is dreaming of Min springing a steel trap, but then, like, walking through it.
So, like, it missing her, like, her springing it. That's kind of like what the girls are wanting to happen, spring the trap, but then, like, not get caught in it, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, but Min's not with them, so, like, that doesn't really help.
Doesn't really make sense.
And we also don't know where Min is right now.
No, and I'm annoyed about that.
Somewhere between the mountains and Tar Valon, hopefully. But
somewhere in there. So, she's also dreaming about Matt. So, I find it interesting that she's still dreaming of these three guys, and it's important not to forget that dreams about Taviran are, like, more significant.
Oh, yeah, we did hear that.
We've heard that before. So, Matt is being followed by a man who's not there, and that's obviously the Gray Man.
Yeah, and Egwene realizes that later this chapter.
Yeah, she does. And Matt being with a woman tossing fireworks around. And she's like, probably some illuminator. And it's like, what? Where? Where is Matt just gonna, like, hang out with an illuminator, Egwene?
Yeah.
No?
Could be Tom, maybe, somehow.
A woman, though, it says.
Yeah, I'm trying to spitball ideas here.
No, it's a bad idea.
Okay, then what does it mean?
Bad.
What does it mean? I don't know.
But it's definitely not an illuminator. So,
okay.
There's all sorts of other, like, crazy dreams about people she doesn't know, and then one about white cloaks in the Two Rivers.
Yeah,
again.
Yeah. We've heard a lot of references to that.
That's bad. Plus, she dreams about the Shan-Chen again, and she also dreams about her mother and her father.
Yeah. One I do want to point out, men and women breaking out of a cage, then putting on crowns.
Oh, probably Forsaken?
Okay.
I don't actually know.
All right, good guess.
Okay, so that's a lot of dreams that, I don't know, I'm sure mean a lot.
Yeah,
but
and I wrote them down because, like, we want to come back to them later, possibly, so.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not going to remember, so it
the
doesn't
important
matter.
ones, the important
ones.
Yeah.
Okay, so Elaine and Egwene are having an argument on the ship's deck right now.
Yeah.
So they're talking about caring about the Cairhienins. That's a hard word.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're having an argument because Elaine is like, oh, those poor people. And Egwene is just like, hasn't Andor fought with Cairhien for like 1,000,000 years? And she's like, yeah, but we feed them now. Like, she's all being high and mighty.
Okay,
like,
no, but this is important.
We feed them, but like, you don't do anything, Elaine.
No, but keep in mind that she does reveal that, like, since the Aiel War, which was 20 years ago, Andor's been, like, shipping grain to Cairhien, and Elaine is about 20-ish years old.
Yeah.
So Elaine's entire life hasn't been, like, Andor and Cairhien at war. It's been them feeding and helping.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe Morghese has more reason to hate, because, like, we don't know how old she is, but probably in her 40s. Yeah. So, like, she would have had years of the warfare, and now she's helping. So.
Yeah, that's fair. And, you know, it really comes to light in these two chapters how much more education Elaine has than Egwene.
Even if it's not exactly right.
Even if it's not exactly right, she, like, knows more about geography and culture and just, like, people and the world in general than Egwene does. And Egwene thinks she freaking knows everything.
Yeah.
And she doesn't, and she gets, like, pissed off when she doesn't know everything.
Yeah, and it's like three very, like, hard-headed women all together.
Yeah, they are, like, getting on each other's nerves.
It's kind of like first time you, like, live with someone and you realize, like, oh my god, I gotta get along with these people.
Yeah.
So.
You're like, just wash your dishes, or whatever it is. You know, passive-aggressive post-its to clean out the microwave, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
But, so they're arguing with each other, and then it seems to me, like, maybe I missed something, but it seems out of nowhere that Egwene figures out that it's a gray man who's after Matt from her dreams. And I'm not sure what triggers this.
Okay.
Like, if I missed it, because Elaine is just rambling on about feeling bad for the Cairhienins, Like,
yeah, no, it's literally out of nowhere, which is why Elaine's like, oh my god, where? And Egwene's like, no, not here. It's kind of like when your brain's working overdrive in the background, trying to figure out a problem.
And then all of a sudden...
Yeah, and it's like, oh my god, I figured it out. So, but like, she approached it very, very wrong.
Yeah, well then she clarifies and thinks that, like, okay, well that's what that dream was about.
I was just thinking about something. Egwene's totally not listening to what Elaine's saying because she's rambling, and Egwene's like in her back of her mind thinking about her dreams, and she's like, oh shit. Figured it out.
Okay.
She hasn't been paying attention.
Okay. That's because Elaine is annoying her.
Yeah.
So she's tuning her out. So Egwene wants to figure out the meaning of, like, all of her dreams, and they're talking about that now when the boat lurches and hits something, like maybe a mud flat, but then it turns out to be like a sunken ship.
Yeah, it's literally like a sunken ship trapped by, like, bandits trying to, like, crash ships.
Oh.
So they can, like, rob them, basically.
That's not great.
It's not great.
So...
Yeah.
Nynaeve shows up tugging her braid because she's pissed. So she goes over to talk to the captain, and they've hit some sunken ship or something. I just wrote, I don't know. That's
literally what happened. Yeah.
And then the women, Nynaeve has decided, are going to get off this boat and walk to the closest village on the Cairhien side because it's about 5 or 6 miles away, and they're going to try to catch another vessel at that village.
Yeah, because the Andorrans are holding that town right now, so it's not going to be on fire, which is good, and it's also a lot closer.
Yeah, and Nynaeve has no time for shenanigans.
Yeah.
That is a fact.
And they're not helpless, so even if they get attacked by bandits, they're going to be fine.
Yes.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
There's some really fun things to talk about next chapter before we meet the Maidens.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. I also have to say, you told me I was looking too deep into things.
Sure.
But at one point, Egwene notes that there's like plumes of smoke about 5 or 6 miles away.
Yeah.
And now they're going to a village that's about 5 or 6 miles away. So I was like, is that village even going to be there?
Okay.
Or is it on fire?
Oh, good question. Okay.
But...
Guess we'll see.
I don't know, because I was like, well, how long had they been traveling since she said that? And it was like, I was like, what does abreast mean? And you're like...
I think that was the issue, because you kept asking what does abreast mean? It's like roughly beside.
Yeah, because...
And then you're like, I gotta figure this out. And I was like, you're reading too much into it. It's just like beside.
Oh, that's what you meant.
Yeah.
No. I meant because it's 5 or 6 miles away.
I didn't know that's what you were talking about.
But abreast the ship, there's a big thing of smoke 5 or 6 miles away.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I still brought it up, and I'm glad I'm still thinking about it because.
So the question is that town that's held by Andorran soldiers?
Cairhien or something.
Cairhien.
Yeah.
Is it going to be held?
Is it going to be there?
Is it going to be there or burned down? What do you think? Now's the time. You brought it up.
I don't know. Well, if they're hoping to catch a boat from it or a ship from it, that means it's on the shore.
Yeah.
And if abreast means beside, that means like 5 or 6 miles like in.
Probably.
Land.
Yeah.
So probably not the same.
It's probably fine. Turns out you might have been overthinking it.
I think I was overthinking it.
But maybe, I guess we'll see.
Okay.
I would hate to ruin that for you.
Okay, so Nynaeve has no time for shenanigans, and there is a village on the Andor side about 15 miles away, and the captain tries to convince them to go there.
It's safer.
Because of war and stuff.
Yeah.
And Nynaeve just says, please, I will not be walking that far if it's not necessary.
Yeah.
So.
I get it.
Yeah. So, Egwene is annoyed with Nynaeve, because they're all on each other's nerves.
Yep.
And Nynaeve goes to get her stuff and tells the captain to ready a rowboat.
Yeah. They've also been, like, sharing the same cabin for, like, they've been together.
Because they're, like, scared to sleep alone and stuff, so.
Yeah. There's reasons.
Yeah, like, literally no alone time. So, they get off the boat and start walking down the riverside, and Egwene says that if they are going to get attacked, she will defend herself.
I love this, because she's literally,
and I imagine her, like, stomping her foot.
But this is the thing.
Glaring.
She's saying, like, there's no Varen to stop me, and there's no
Amyrlin.
Well, but I'm thinking back to when she was, like, threatening the White Cloaks. Varen was the one who was like, don't you do that.
Yeah.
And then the Amyrlins get him shit, too.
Yeah.
But she's like, I'm literally gonna, like, murder the bandits.
Yeah.
If I even, like, see anybody, so.
And then Nynaeve sort of says, well, we can scare them away.
She's like, yeah, okay, you can scare them. I'm gonna fireball them.
I'm gonna murder them.
Yeah.
find out what this balefire is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Use that somehow.
And then a figure in brown and gray pops up from like some bushes in front of them, and that's the end of this chapter.
Yeah.
And
so
I have to tell you, you're going to be so disappointed with me.
Oh no. Okay.
And I really need to start doing better.
Because you didn't look at the colors, did you?
It didn't even occur to me.
You're like, oh my god, who
I
is
was like,
it?
who is it? And then the next page says Maidens of the Spear. That's the title of and I went, idiot. And I felt,
it's like the only people who are ever described in like...
so stupid because we just had this conversation.
When I was like, you didn't look at what he's wearing.
Yeah.
It's like browns and grays.
Literally
like,
the same because I just...
It's like earth tones.
Yeah, so from
Camouflage.
now on...
Yeah.
No one else is allowed to wear brown or gray because I'll assume they're Aiel.
But I also, just as a side note, because my fun fact was about the... Because I was looking, like, where do clans and septs come into play?
Yeah.
And then I figured out it's, like, Scottish and Irish. And typically, different clans have different patterns of, like, kilts. Tartans, yeah. So I am totally envisioning the Aiel as Scottish. So I want to see...
tartan?
In, like, yeah. I would love it. Just like a little Scottish background.
No.
No? Playing bagpipes into battle?
No.
No? Oh, I want that. Okay.
That's like the opposite of what they do.
I know, but they do play the pipes into battle. There you go.
Okay, no.
It's bagpipes.
No.
Yep.
No. No. Anyway, so I'm glad we can move on from me having a momentary lapse in judgment.
That's great.
And I'm glad we got to read on right away and I didn't have to like sit at the end of this chapter trying to speculate who it is because I would have seemed so stupid.
They go together well, but it's also just as a funny side note, these girls were talking so much about how they like are going to be careful and they're like looking out for people
and then just like
literally in front of them like where they shouldn't be able to hide.
Hello. Yeah.
So
whatever. So we have chapter 38, Maidens of the Spear, and it's the wheel and snake picture.
Yeah.
We are in the next second. Egwene and Elaine immediately embrace Saidar, and Nynaeve just stands there with her arms crossed beneath her breasts.
Yes.
Because it's important where her arms are crossed.
Yeah.
Beneath the breasts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an important detail.
Very, very.
But anyways,
moving
Nynaeve is definitely not angry enough to channel.
Definitely. That's what's happening. And Egwene notices it's actually a woman who's no older than her, and Elaine lets go of the power, but Egwene knows that women can be just as dangerous as men and thinks that Elaine was never a Seanchan prisoner.
You know, I'm on Egwene's
to make
side
this
here.
mistake.
Yeah, I'm on Egwene's side 100%. Like, just because it's a woman, don't let your guard down just yet.
Especially one in, like, breeches.
Yeah.
Like,
pops up right in front of you, and you're like, ah!
Yeah.
So.
Even though she's not holding a weapon, like, you have no idea who else is around or what's going on.
Well, considering, and they don't know this, but, like, Gaul killed, like, what, 8 White Cloaks probably?
Well, these women killed a bunch of Cairhien soldiers.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, not great. But Egwene realizes that this woman is an Aiel because of her blue eyes and her red hair, plus the pants give it away.
And she looks like Rand's cousin.
Well, because Egwene feels an affinity for this woman that she can't quite explain, and then thinks it's probably because she looks like Rand's cousin.
But it's important to know, too, that she's feeling almost a kinship. This is going to be really important a little bit later this chapter. Yeah. Just remember that. She feels an affinity.
Okay.
And she's feeling like a kinship.
Okay. So, this woman's name is Avienda of the Nine Valley Sept of the Tardad Aiel, and she is a Maiden of the Spear.
Yeah, so Avienda is her name. Nine Valley Sept is like the family unit. The Tardad Aiel is like the clan, like the big unit. And then Maiden of the Spear is a society.
Gotcha. So, I know this name.
Yes, yeah.
This is a name I've heard before. This is one of the ones that...
It's on Twitter.
It's on Twitter. It pops up. And, of course, people have been talking to us about our baby and what we're going to name our baby.
Sure.
And I think it was when we were doing that podcast-a-thon, somebody told us that in real life, they named their child Avienda.
Yeah, I'm all down with that. Like, that's cool. I like that name.
Do you?
Oh, yeah, I love Avienda as a name.
And then, like, Avi as a nickname.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
And so And then people were like, oh, Dani hasn't met Avienda yet. It's spoiler. And I was like, well, it's just a name, guys.
Yeah, you have no context.
I have
so it's like...
literally no context except for the fact that I've heard it now as a name.
Yes. So.
And,
but now we know she's an Aiel. So.
Right. And I feel as though probably important. If somebody's going to name their child Avienda, like, that's the spoiler. I think out of everything, it's that it's not just a name in passing. I think that this is probably going to be somebody,
which is like medium spoilery, like pretty much. Yeah, okay, she's important. I don't feel bad about that. Like, you have zero context for how or why or what.
Yeah, so, it's fine. It's all good, but it's fine. I wasn't expecting her to be Aiel though.
Yeah, okay.
With a name like Avienda, I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know what I thought. I didn't think this, so that was a surprise. So immediately, she asks if the women are of the White Tower. She saw the rings, but their faces do not have the look. Except that she says, we saw the rings?
Yeah.
And Egwene gets super uneasy about this and looks around, but can't see where anyone else would be hiding except for like a group of trees like 200 paces away or whatever.
Like far enough away that maybe only bows would be dangerous, but also really important, Avienda here says, you have women much like our wise ones. And we got a reference, I think it was from Urian when we first met, that
with
there's
Varen.
wise ones. So,
yeah.
So that's kind of like
and
big.
And then we also got the whole thing about Ruidian, about where they go to like
the wise ones go.
And we also know that there are no Aiel in the White Tower, so obviously any girl who has any sort of power goes to this place to become a wise one.
So, makes sense that they have their own like system in place.
They do,
Yeah.
So, which I find interesting considering they have such an affinity for Aes Sedai.
What do you mean?
Like, why wouldn't they send them to the White Tower?
Okay, that's a good question.
Like, I know that they're not supposed to come out of the Threefold Land or something like that.
But why do they stay? They totally, like, 100%...
They can leave if they want to.
They can, and they clearly, like, revere Aes Sedai in some sort of way. But, I mean, maybe that's a reason because they revere them for whatever reason we don't know yet. But they don't have any in the tower, and it sounds like when we heard Varen talking about it, she had one point said, what I wouldn't give to be able to, like, study one of your people.
You just go then.
So... Just
go!
Maybe they can't.
But, like, why?
Just go and hang out with the Aiel? What if they say no?
But they won't.
Maybe.
Because of the way they clearly, the way that they respect Aes Sedai.
Maybe things are different in the, the wetlands.
I don't know. It all seems like there's like a puzzle.
It's almost like there's more detail to this that we haven't read about in the first time we met the Aes Sedai. Or the Aiel.
It's almost like there's more information.
Oh, man, okay. I guess we'll have to keep reading.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ass. Okay, so... yeah, there's definitely, like, a couple puzzle pieces missing here.
Oh, yeah.
But the way I'm looking at things, I don't get it. I don't know why they're not all just good friends.
Yeah, okay.
Except for, like, they failed in some service.
Yeah, there's that, too. Like, we'll talk about that.
Okay, so, where was I?
Okay.
Nynaeve says that they are of the White Tower, but she doesn't really say anything else, and Avienda smiles, and Egwene thinks that she actually looks quite lovely.
Oh.
And her sour expression before made her not so lovely. And so Avienda says that Nynaeve sounds just like their wise ones.
To the point and small suffering of fools.
Yes. So she tells them that one of theirs is injured, and they have heard that Aes Sedai can heal like their wise ones do.
Yeah, because apparently wise ones heal their, like, badly injured warriors.
Yeah.
So, like, again, that's pretty huge.
Yeah, well, and it's also similar.
It's very similar.
Literally the same.
Yeah.
So Nynaeve says that she'll help if she can, but she can't make any promises. And Avienda says, well, death will come for us all, so at least we want you to try.
Yeah, similar mindset to, like, Gaul and Urian, though.
Of course, yeah.
So
Egwene's annoyed with Nynaeve for just, like, making this decision for the group. But it's Nynaeve who does the healing. Like, it's not like Egwene is going to try to heal.
Yeah, we don't actually know if the other two girls, like, know really how to do that kind of thing yet.
And that's always been Nynaeve's affinity.
Yeah.
Has always been the healing thing, as the wisdom, as the...
Yeah, that's her thing.
That's her thing. So once Nynaeve agrees, two women jump up from like a teeny bush.
Yep.
And literally like a fold in the ground where the grass is knee-high.
So...
and both of them have short spears in their hands, and they lower their veils, which is all very shocking to Egwene.
I gotta say, it's really funny, because if you think way back, I think it was when they were in the mountains and they first met Urian, it was Uno who had said something like, you know, they let us see them, so if there's like one of them, there's 100%, like there's a lot more that we haven't seen, and they're just like... So
Right.
Aiel are clearly like really good at like the hiding and the sneaking.
Yeah.
And then these girls are like, oh, they gotta be really far away. And it's like...
I could never hide here, so
clearly
no one else
can.
could.
So,
yeah.
But yeah.
But what's interesting is they had their veils up and had their spears just
ready.
in case.
But Avienda had no weapons on her
Yeah.
at all. So she was like the one supposed to talk and hopefully not get murdered. And then the other two were ready for it just in case.
Right, and it's almost like Avienda was like, I'll just take you with my hands if I have to.
Yeah, there's that too, so.
Because, I mean, we just saw Gaul fight a bunch of White Cloaks and,
Yeah.
like, murder them with just, like, his hands.
Yeah.
So, they can do that, too.
They can do that too, absolutely.
So, Elaine introduces herself as the daughter heir of Andor, and Egwene thinks that she's an idiot for doing so.
Uh-huh, full name and everything.
Yeah. And one of the other Aiel women is named Bane.
Yep.
And the other is Chide.
Chiad or Chiad. I
Chiad.
believe in the audiobooks it's Chiad.
Chiad.
So,
Okay.
yeah, Bane and Chiad.
And they're both from different septs and clans.
Yes.
Okay.
But we'll get more into that after.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Egwene introduces herself,
Because she's being rude by not introducing herself.
apparently. And then Bane asks them if they are first sisters, and Egwene says yes, thinking in terms of Aes Sedai, and Elaine says no, and explains that they mean that you have the same mother if you are first sisters, and second sisters would be if your mothers are sisters.
Yeah,
So second sisters would be cousins.
cousins, yeah. But again, the issue is that Elaine thinks that she knows, but she doesn't know. She
doesn't
just knows
really.
like their own system, but this is clearly not what the Aiel first sisters
Not
means.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Elaine says that she sometimes thinks of Egwene as a first sister, but they are not blood kin. And then Chiad asks, well, like, why don't you just go speak the words before your wise ones and become first sisters?
Well, there you go.
And then Egwene's confused, and I'm confused, and everyone's confused. No one knows what's going on. The Aiel thinks that Egwene and Elaine are stupid because they don't they don't know their culture. I don't know. It's all just like
Yeah.
a back and forth here.
Well, here's the thing. So Bane and Chiad clearly spoke the words before the wise ones in this sort of ceremony and became first sisters.
Yeah.
And then Egwene's still confused about like how do you become it, but clearly it's in a different sense.
Yeah.
So-
So Elaine and Egwene apologize for their ignorance and say that all they know about the Aiel is that you guys don't like men and that you fight. And then Egwene thinks like a mix between Warders and Red Aja,
Yeah.
which is funny. But then these Aiel women just like think Egwene and Elaine are so stupid, and they're just like, "What do you mean we like men just fine?"
Yeah.
Like,
You come close, but you miss it completely.
yeah.
And this is the whole like thing about the maidens. So they wed the spear, and during the time that they're like maidens of the spear, they don't get married, they don't have kids while they're in this society.
Yeah.
Because again, a society is a club you join basically.
Right, but you can give up your spear for a man or a child, but once given up, it can't be taken back.
Yeah, so it's like once you leave the club, you don't get to rejoin the club.
Also, if you go to Ruidian,
Yeah.
a wise one cannot be wedded to the spear either.
Which makes sense. So it's like the wise ones aren't the warrior types.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. Like if you're comparing them to Aes Sedai, it's not like Aes Sedai are going to pick up a weapon and go and you can't like Moraine's probably not going to use a sword. She's got other means, right?
That's true.
I mean, I can see Moraine picking up the sword and
me
whacking
too.
someone,
Or
but
like a belt knife.
you get what I'm saying. So yeah.
Yeah. But then we get into some explanation of some Aiel clans holding like blood feuds. But so this Bane and Chiad became first sisters anyway, even though their clans don't like each other
Yeah.
or something.
So they're married, number one.
Yeah. They're married to each other.
They're married.
They're married.
Yeah, Ban and Chiad are married.
That's
They're a
what
married
First
couple.
Sisters means?
Nope, they said their wedding pledges weren't enough.
Okay.
They married each other.
Okay. Like their wedding to the spear pledges?
Nope,
they're
married
wedding to each other.
They're married to each other.
Okay.
Ban and Chiad are wives.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wives to each other. So even though they're from separate clans and their clans are at war, like we said, the societies in between don't fight each other. But since they're married to each other and they felt that the wedding pledge wasn't enough.
So Elaine was wrong.
Elaine's
about
wrong.
What First Sisters means.
Yeah, she's wrong about what she's right about what First Sisters means to her.
That's why I'm so confused right now.
To the Aiel, First Sisters don't have nothing to do with what Elaine's talking about.
Sisters.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that Elaine actually knew.
That's why the Aiel are looking at her like, you came close to it, but you completely missed the mark. That's not what this means.
No wonder I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah,
okay.
So Ban and Chiad are married,
okay.
And then since their wedding pledges weren't enough because of this whole blood feud between their clans, they also risked going to each other's like clan homes and got the wise ones to do the whole First Sister ceremony, so they are both married and First Sisters. So
and Maidens of the Spear.
Yeah, that's a club. That's a group.
I get it.
Yeah, so that's like less important to their relationship. First Sisters means something else that we don't entirely know.
Okay.
But it means some sort of very close connection.
Well, they guard each other.
Yep.
And if they are going to take a man, they share him.
Yeah, which makes sense because they're married.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Romantically.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about things.
Why?
But that's okay. Well, just because we know that there are these viewings about Rand with more than one woman. And so we're thinking of it as like, I keep calling it sister wives.
Yeah.
But like maybe it's a sister thing. Like,
sure. It could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the big thing. Is like you've got no idea, and then we've also
I literally have no clue.
We kind of talked about this because Perrin with the whole like Falcon and Hawk thing.
No, that's different.
Well, if Rand can have three, possibly, why can't Perrin?
I'm telling you.
Okay. All right.
Because
gotta make you think about it.
It's because Rand is Aiel or something.
What does that got to do with it?
Because this is clearly an Aiel thing.
Okay.
Except Min and Elaine are not. But.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right, so something to think about.
I'm stumbling on something here. Let me think about it a little more. Yeah. That's interesting information for me that I did not pick up on.
So again, the whole point is like Elaine's totally wrong. Like she's getting everything wrong, and they're looking at her like, yeah, okay, sure.
Okay, so Egwene and Elaine are confused. I feel like I wrote this like 10 times this chapter.
Yeah.
But I feel like them. I'm also just as confused.
Yeah.
And Egwene thinks, okay, maybe not red Aja, but green Aja.
Yes.
Because they share men?
Yeah.
Like, that's why she's thinking of them more like that?
Well, because they thought that Maidens of the Spear hate men, and if you hate men, you're a red Aja.
Yeah.
But clearly they don't hate men.
Right.
But
I think it's an interesting mix, a green Aja and a warder, because green Aja, as we know, are, like, the fighters.
Yes.
So...
the battle Aja.
Like, you don't need warders if you're a green Aja. You know what I mean?
Or you want more warders because you're going into battle, so...
Yeah, but I just think, like, you're the fighter.
Yeah.
So, just compare them to green Aja, leave out the dudes.
All right. What we've asked this before, but can women be warders?
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm asking you. Like, I know the answer to that, so...
Oh, I want them to be.
Okay.
I'm you know me.
Yeah.
Sure. Anything goes.
Yeah.
So Egwene thinks about being sisters with Elaine and then having to share the same man, Rand.
Yeah.
And then thinks immediately about the whole neither of us can have him
terrible
business, and she just needs to give it up.
She does. It's kind of funny because if you look at like from Ban and Chiad's perspective, they're very confused because Elaine and Egwene are like, well, we see each other as first sisters,
and they're like,
then why don't you go do the whole ceremony and become first sisters?
That makes so much more sense because
and that's why the whole like,
get it.
And she's like, well, but you guys are wise ones, but the wise ones are the ones who do the ceremonies, but you're young. So, like, I don't know how you guys would do it either here, but, like, you should go do that ceremony and, like,
if you just want to,
if you want to be first sisters, then
go
be
and then
first
Elaine
sisters.
says, well, we already guard each other's backs. We don't have to do a ceremony. And so they're like, what? Why would wise ones need guarding? No one would ever attack you.
So this is huge, too. Big indication into Aiel culture. The wise ones don't need to worry about being attacked ever because who would do it?
I wonder if current Aes Sedai have this knowledge about Aiel and the fact that they would never attack an Aes Sedai. Because, like, Varen if she wanted to,
Yeah.
could go and technically go and study the wise ones and see what they do and whatever without fear.
It doesn't seem like they would get attacked.
No.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah. Well, we got that from Urian, who was like, even to Varen way back when, he was like, send your lightnings at me and I'll dance with them.
Yeah.
But he's talking literally what we get from these girls too.
Yeah.
Is like, they'll dance with your lightnings, but they ain't gonna touch you.
They're not fighting
like, they're
you
gonna
back.
try and like dodge or whatever, like dodge your lightning bolts, but
Yeah.
they're not gonna lift a spear against you. So it sounds like the Aes Sedai don't know anything about Aiel.
Yeah.
And if this is what like Elaine is being taught, she's royalty. So you would think that royalty's got like top of the line information.
Education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds like they don't.
Well, and same with Aes Sedai. You'd think that they'd have some information too.
And clearly, maybe they just, I was going to say maybe they haven't got there in their studies yet, but it doesn't seem that way.
I think that there's some missing information that's been not passed along as it should.
Yeah. And keep in mind, Varen's brown and her whole deal is like no stuff.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know this stuff.
No, she does not.
Yeah.
So, they reach the trees where the injured woman is, and her name is Dallin.
Yeah, Dallin.
And we find out that she took a sword because some stupid Cairhien soldiers tried to attack them, saying they were bandits, so they had to kill them to convince them otherwise.
Not just Cairhien.
I hate when that happens.
Oath-breaking tree killers.
Oath-breaking tree killers.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind, why did the Aiel cross the dragon wall?
Yeah.
Because those tree killers.
Tree killers.
Yeah.
Lamin Sin.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah, I do remember that from Tam's Fever
You're learning,
Dreams.
yes.
Yeah, that's it.
I love it.
I don't know who Lamin is, but I sure know he sinned something.
He's a jerk, whoever he is.
He killed a tree.
Was.
The great tree.
Yeah. Sapling of Vendasora.
Avendasora.
Yeah.
That's very close to Avienda.
Yeah, okay. Well, names can come from different things, so, okay.
How about that?
Maybe Avienda is a sapling of the Tree of Life.
Oh my god, she's a tree.
Figured it out. Okay. No?
No.
Okay.
So, anyway, Dalen got hurt, and Nynaeve checks out her wounds, and then scolds the Aiel for moving her. And Avienda says, well, she wanted to die near water.
Yeah.
So we had to move her.
Yeah.
And Nynaeve just starts lecturing them and calling them fools. And I think she's trying to work herself up here.
Mm-hmm.
And we definitely get that in a little bit.
Yeah, literally through the encounter, she's like getting progressively more and more mad.
Yeah. And so she takes out all of her, like, herbs and stuff and starts mixing them up. And she tells one of the women to go get some water from the river. And two of them go together very hesitantly.
Yep.
And then Avienda questions Nynaeve's use of herbs as an Aes Sedai.
Yep.
And Nynaeve says, I use what I use! And, like, barks at her. And Avienda says, oh, she does sound like a wise one.
Which is hilarious, because, like, you gotta think, like, these Aiel women are, like, approaching these women that they know are kind of like their wise ones.
Yeah.
And are, like, barking orders. So there's just literally, like, a bunch of wise ones who are kind of like Nynaeve.
Yeah.
So...
I just picture, like, a bunch of wisdoms.
Like, bunch of wisdoms who are, like, telling everyone what to do.
Yeah.
So, like, no nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Egwene asks why they're so uneasy about the river. And Elaine just shakes her head, because this is something that Elaine knows.
Well,
Or
she thinks she knows, yeah.
And Egwene tells them that they could swim in it if they wanted to. Like, that river is not going to hurt you. And Avienda says, I saw a man do this thing once. This swimming.
Is like the Gaul pull herself through the water.
Through the water. And then one of the Aiels who was in the trees with Dalen from the Stone River Sept.
Yep.
Jolene or something?
Yeah.
Jolene? Yeah.
Jolene?
Anyway, Egwene is like, well, you're from the Stone River. Didn't you ever swim in the Stone River? And she's like, swim means to pull yourself in the water with nothing to hold on to?
Yeah.
Like, are you crazy?
Yeah. Also, the Stones River is just literally a bunch of stones.
Just stones.
Yeah.
There's no water there.
Yeah. Probably used to be.
Yeah.
But that's just boasting.
Yeah.
But there probably actually used to be, so.
Yeah, maybe.
Like a long time ago, like probably.
Maybe. So, Egwene sort of like goes on edge, and Avienda picks up on this and says, like, just so you know, I would never hurt an Aes Sedai or any woman.
Pause.
Yeah.
At the beginning of this chapter, Egwene, when she first met Avienda, said, I can feel an affinity for her.
Yeah.
And then here, Egwene had initially prepared weaves and then dropped her guard.
Yeah.
And then while Nynaeve is healing, she's worried that if the healing fails, the Aiel are going to attack her.
Yeah.
So then, after she's dropped Saidar, she then picks it up again and starts to form weaves. And as soon as Egwene starts forming the weaves again and, like, holding Saidar, Aviendha immediately says, hey, just so you know, like, we're not going to attack you.
Oh. So can she tell that she's, like, embracing Saidar?
That's what it seems like.
Oh, okay. I didn't get that at all. Cool, though.
But what does that tell you?
That she can channel.
There you go.
Oh, okay. Like, she can see the glow, probably.
She knows that Egwene's, like, doing something with the power, and she's like, hey, hold on here a second. Like, we're not gonna hurt you.
Right.
Yeah. I would never harm an Aes Sedai, whether Dailen lives or dies. I would never use this, the spear, against a woman, and you're Aes Sedai. So, like, doubly so, not that. So.
I wonder why Aviendha never went to be a wise one, then.
Well,
if she can channel.
There was more hinting at that in this chapter. I don't want to reveal that, but...
Oh.
Well, I guess...
Okay.
Yeah, if you reread it.
Okay.
They're talking about, like, going to Rhuidean.
Yeah.
Bane and Shead.
And then they
and
sort
then
of,
she's
like, look at each other as if hiding
Some
something.
people, like, try to fight it.
Oh.
They chuckle to each other.
Because they know that Aviendha's probably fighting it. Okay,
Yeah, it's like inside...
No, that's good.
Yeah.
I missed it, but that's good information.
Yeah, it's like basically Aiel inside jokes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I missed a lot.
Yeah, it's hard, but this is the thing. It's like Aiel culture is really hard, and I truthfully didn't get Aiel culture for, like, books and books and books. So
it's just something, like, I literally skim over it because I tried, like, to read it a couple times, and I didn't get anything more out of it the second time I read it because it's literally gibberish nonsense.
Yeah. So I think since we're doing such an in-depth dive in this first read, I think it's better if you, like, get all the innuendo
I agree.
at the beginning.
Okay.
So without having to do, like, a second, third read-through, let's put it on the table here.
Okay.
Yeah. Aiel inside jokes are literally my favorite thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I sort of picked up on that.
Yeah.
But I didn't get that it was about Aviendha. So...
Yeah. But that's that whole affinity thing we're talking about.
Yeah, okay.
Because at the end of this chapter, Egwene also thinks that she can feel or see what Nynaeve is doing.
Yes.
So, like, she's developing that ability.
Yes, she definitely is.
And it seems like Aviendha has that.
So let's get to that then, because...
But before we get that,
we're back to this whole, like, I wouldn't hurt any Aes Sedai or any woman, you know, sort of unless she had a weapon. But even then, it would just sort of be to teach her a lesson.
Yeah,
like,
so
I wouldn't
again,
kill her.
These are the rules of Aiel culture. The Maidens, if they saw, like, a wetlander... like a woman with a weapon, they would, like, basically beat her up until she, like, realized she's being an idiot trying to fight them.
Yeah.
But then she's also like, well, men might see a wetlander woman with a weapon and think that she's a maiden, but men are weird, so, like, they'd be wrong, but men are weird about that kind of stuff.
Okay. Men are weird.
Men are weird, even to the Aiel, so...
There you go.
Yeah.
So, well, that's probably why they just marry each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah. So... We also get something about the Aiel serving the Aes Sedai and failing them.
Yeah.
And then being sent to the Threefold Land. And if they fail the Aes Sedai again, they will destroy them all.
Yes. Do you remember why it's called the Threefold Land? What the three basic things are? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a shaping stone to make us, a testing ground to prove our worth, and a punishment for the sin.
For the sin of failing the Aes Sedai, I guess.
That's what it sounds like.
Okay.
We don't know how, and the Aiel also don't know what that sin is.
But they also know that if they find he who comes with the dawn, they can leave the
They can leave, and we know that he who comes with the dawn is probably Rand.
Yeah.
And we also know that Perrin just told Gaul,
Rand is
he's going to Tyr. You got to get to Tyr.
Go find him.
So, but we also, just last kind of point, it's like, even though these Aiel, these maidens, don't know what that sin is, they think that maybe the wise ones do, and the clan chiefs.
Right.
So
they're just not sharing it.
Yeah.
So Elaine is surprised at this, and Aviendha says that one thing is clear: they must never fight Aes Sedai. Even if they bring their lightnings and balefire against them, they will dance with them and basically, like, accept death.
Yeah.
And then Egwene goes, "What's balefire?" And Aviendha says, "I don't know, something bad."
Something bad that you guys have, don't you know? And Egwene's like, no.
The end.
But yeah, that's it. But in the stories, it makes it a fearsome thing.
Fearsome,
so balefire is some sort of bad thing.
Some sort of bad thing.
Yeah.
So, Nynaeve starts to work herself up, getting mad about, like, the soldiers hurting this woman. And then she does get to embrace Saidar. And
Dylan, yeah.
sits up with a scream, and Nynaeve lays her back down, and Egwene thinks she saw how Nynaeve float a bunch of weaves all together.
Yeah.
Very impressively.
I mean, it kind of makes sense, like, healing would be intricate.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just, like, blasting you in the belly with, like, water.
I
don't know.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know. It's something.
So,
Probably
Nynaeve...
combination, right?
Yeah, something. So, Nynaeve uses the old bandages to wipe away, like, the old blood to reveal that the wound is completely gone.
Yeah.
Which is very impressive healing.
Hey.
And she tells the Aiel to go get her clothes back on her and get her some food because she will be hungry.
Yeah, hey. So, Nynaeve's pretty good.
That's the end of this chapter.
Yeah.
Nynaeve's pretty good when she can get angry. Like,
it's situationally
this is
powerful.
Something she really needs to work on. This is not great.
Yeah. So it's either you pull a Hulk and you're always angry.
Right.
Yeah. Or like...
Well, because even when she started getting herself worked up, she started to get the Aiel women worried.
Super nervous.
Like,
yeah.
Is she getting mad? Why is she getting so angry? And then Elaine's like, yeah, she's getting angry.
Yeah, gonna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
But it's like, it makes sense why the Aiel are so, like, on edge, because, like, Nynaeve's getting pissed off. They know they can't fight the Aes Sedai. They don't want to die. Like, they don't have a death wish, even though they're, like, all embrace death and this kind of stuff. Like, they're nervous. So, and then when Egwene also, like, starts to, like, weave some, you know, things to do.
That,
and then Aviendha's like, hey, by the way, like, we're not going to hurt you, so.
Yeah.
Whole lot of interconnecting pieces here.
All right, and before we wrap it up, we have a question from our executive producers.
Right, yeah.
Who get to ask a question. All of our producer-level patrons get to ask a question or add a comment to a regular episode, which we will answer.
Basically, say whatever you want, and we're going to say it on the podcast.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So, from Brandy and Aaron,
yeah,
we have the question... You have seen what might be each of our Emmenfield boys' special abilities.
Yep.
Do you think they will evolve or manifest or discover changes to current or new abilities?
Okay, so like how... So we've got Rand, who's the dragon. He can do the channeling.
Yes.
We've got Perrin with the wolf abilities.
Yes.
And then we've got Matt with...
Some weird crap.
Some sort of weird, really good at gambling.
Luck stuff.
Luck type ability,
but
which could be
also the Manetherin old tongue stuff.
The whole, like, he's the old general or something like that.
Right. So
no stuff. He's gotten a vision.
Yes.
We haven't seen more of that.
No.
We don't know how that's... So how is that going to evolve and change, I suppose?
Okay. So with Rand...
Yeah.
I think... I sure hope...
Sure.
That things sort of start to settle for him. I do think that they're probably going to get way worse before they get better.
Okay.
He is not doing well right now.
Sure.
But I think we're pretty early in the series. Like, that's my issue.
I have a question.
So early in this series.
I have a question I just kind of thought about on this whole topic now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the whole, like, things are going to get worse before they get better. Or are things going to get progressively worse and he just has to make it to the last battle?
Things will get better.
There's no saying that he has to, like, make it past the last battle.
That's true.
There's no saying that he has to be, like, in a great condition or,
That's
like...
also true.
You know, emotionally and...
I really, really, really doubt that we're going to get... What is it? 11 more books?
Sure.
Of crazy, murdery Rand.
Okay.
Before the last battle. I just don't buy that. I think that there is going to be some learning.
Yeah.
There is going to be a learning curve. And I do think that there is going to be something to fix the male half of the power. I think that that's, like, eventually the trajectory.
Okay.
Like, so that male channelers can exist again.
So, like, stop going crazy for the rest of eternity?
Something like getting rid of the oily taint or something like that. So, something like that.
Yeah.
That's my prediction for, like, series-wide.
Okay.
For this book, I don't think there's a hope for Rand. Okay. Like, I'm not hopeful in this book.
It's like long-term getting better, not short-term.
I'm saying at least probably a couple books.
Okay.
Of Rand
so we're gonna get,
figuring this shit out.
We're going to get pretty dark, and then it's going to, like, ease up.
I think so.
Okay, that's fair.
With Perrin...
Yes.
I really, really, really need him to embrace the wolfiness.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. He's in the
gotta, because the whole blocking them out thing, like, it's just not working.
Yeah.
It's like, he can't not sleep forever. He'll just die.
That's true. That is what happens. Well, first you go insane and then you die.
Well, yeah. So there's that. So I do think he will embrace it, and I think that maybe he'll have to go a little secluded for a while.
What do you mean, like Elias type of seclusion?
Yeah, like Elias type of seclusion.
Okay.
Maybe. Or maybe he, like, has to go on some find yourself journey.
I'm thinking like a Vision Quest
Elias
type, like a walkabout. Yeah.
Okay. But like with Elias maybe as a mentor, almost like a Luke Yoda.
Love it. Yep.
Thing. So maybe that.
Yeah.
And then with Matt, his is actually the most I'm interested in learning about. I don't know if that comes as a surprise to anybody, but I'm interested in what the heck is even going on, or what his ability even is, because it's so new.
It seems like we just got introduced as like he can influence luck in some way.
Yeah.
But we don't really know how that's gonna like
play out or what that looks like. I think that at some point this whole
if he has
Manetheren battle guy, soldier, leader guy is gonna come out somehow, and he's gonna end up like maybe like leading some sort of army or something.
More visions,
more old tongue stuff, more winning money.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's rich, so
he's just gonna get rich. Yeah.
Okay, good answer.
It's okay. Those are decent answers. Yeah. But there's a good question.
No, I like that. That's hard. It's hard to guess where the series is gonna go with their abilities.
Right.
Okay.
So this is good. I'm going to go read.
Yeah.
Don't tell me the next chapters are good.
They're terrible. They're terrible chapters.
Whatever. Like, I know that you like all chapters. You told me these chapters were good, and I'm
sorry.
They
were good, and these next few chapters are also really good.
They were not. They were confusing, great. And they were boring, and they were like 18 pages of detail. It was too like I just can't.
Okay.
They were not great. So I'm hoping these, in my eyes, these next ones are good. The thing about next time is the next chapter is the longest chapter in the book.
Okay. Hey.
At 20 pages for the whole chapter.
Okay.
Which doesn't seem terrible, because that sounds like average for
that was
last
average
book.
For The Great Hunt.
But
like,
for this book, that's like double.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're looking at a longer episode next time.
Hey, people like that though, right?
I
like
so.
that. I know you don't.
It's more note-taking.
It's more notes and more editing, but hey, okay.
We'll figure it out. But yeah, I know the next one, just as a heads up, is going to be more information. And so maybe I'm like looking forward to that. I'm excited. So.
Sure. Okay.
All right. And with that being said, I am going to say that this is part of the pattern now.
It's part of the pattern.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. The Wheel Weaves is hosted by Dani and Brett, edited by Dani, produced by Dani and Brett with Vince Lewick, Scott Williams, Passion Socks, Mozyme, Michelle O'Brien, Derek Benton, Benjamin, and Derek Schluter, with music by Audionautics.com. If you'd like bonus content, like bonus episodes, outtakes, Q&As, more fun Wheel of Time talk, early access, cool stickers and keychains, and also to support us making great content, visit us at patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram and Twitter at The Wheel Weaves Podcast. We love interacting with our listeners. Plus, don't forget to rate, subscribe, and tell a friend about us, because referrals really are the best compliment. We'd really love for you to come over and join our Discord channel for some spoiler or spoiler-free discussions. You can find the links at our Twitter page as well as on our Patreon page. Thanks again for tuning in, because this really is part of the pattern now.